Why need sunscreen? The sunscreen works by protecting our skin from harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation, we call UV radiation, that coming from sun. There are two types of UV radiation. The one is UVA, the other one is UVB. The both types, UVA and UVB, UV radiations, both can cause skin damage, but they affect the skin differently. It depends on the color of the skin, the nature of the skin, also the effects on the different ways. In commercially, we can buy, there are two types of sunscreen. The most commonly we are buying the physical sunscreen that contain inorganic compounds. The other group is chemical sunscreen or we call organic sunscreen. Let's see what is the difference between physical and the chemical sunscreen. The physical sunscreen that contains zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, ZNO or TiO2 as active ingredients. And chemical sunscreen, on the other hand, they contain some chemical compounds. For example, avobenzone, octosaccharidine, oxybenzone. So this kind of chemical or the organic compounds as the active ingredients. Then physical sunscreens, they act as the physical barriers. That is the purpose of this zinc oxide and TiO2. They are acting as a barriers and then reflect the UV light. And the other hand, the chemical sunscreen, they are not barriers, they absorb UV radiation. And then the UV radiation convert into heat. Then the heat release from our skin. So that is the function of the organic chemicals in the chemical sunscreen. However, both physical and chemical sunscreen act as a broad spectrum protection. Broad spectrum means they protect from both UVA type and the UVB type. The disadvantage of the physical sunscreen over chemical is the physical sunscreen. I hope you will have some experience. They remain residues, the white color patches or the residues on our skin. The reason is zinc oxide and titanium oxide, that is our titanium dioxide, active ingredients. They are particle in nature. So due to that particle properties, they remain white color residues on our skin. Uh, so it is wise to carefully research and then find out any sunscreen that contain micronized or nano-sized versions of the sunscreen available in the market. On the other hand, the chemical sunscreen generally clear and more cosmetically appealing because they do not leave a residue. So when you are applying a makeup on top of the sunscreen, so it's better to apply the chemical sunscreen compared to the physical sunscreen to prevent any the white patches or the residues. UV radiation and skin damage. Let's talk about little bit about UVA and UVB, both types of ultraviolet radiation. First, UVA. UVA is the nanometer range, the wavelength range in between 320 nanometers to 400 nanometers. So with UVA ultraviolet radiation penetrates the deeper into the skin and is primarily responsible for photoaging. Photoaging means they form wrinkles on our skin and then the damage with loss of elasticity, damage our cells, and also UVA can also contribute to the skin cancer finally. UVB. UVB's wavelength range is 280 to 320 nanometers. So this UVB affects the outer layer of the skin. They are not penetrate into the deeper. They affect on outer layer of the skin and is the primary cause of sunburn. So if you stay a few hours in the sun after 10 a.m., then we can see our sunburns on our skin. That is mostly due to this UVB ultraviolet radiation. So this is UVB radiation plays a significant role in developing skin cancer. Both UVA and UVB are harmful on our skin and both can lead to skin cancer. What is SPF in a sunscreen? How we can select a best sunscreen? SPF meaning is sun protection factor. that indicates the level of protection against UVB rays. For example, SPF 30. SPF 30 means sun protection factor is 30. That means it would take 30 times longer for the skin to burn compared to unprotected skin. The broad spectrum sunscreen. Last time we discussed both chemical and the physical sunscreen. The inorganic and the organic sunscreen both are broad spectrum. What is the meaning of broad spectrum? The products labeled as broad spectrum, that means they protect from both UVA and UVB rays. So it is better to select, it's better to buy a sunscreen with this label, broad spectrum sunscreen, because it gives protection from both UV rays. The proper application. For maximum effectiveness, sunscreen should be applied generously and evenly to all exposed skin. When we exposed to the sun, all the exposed areas outside in addition to the clothes, covered areas, we need to apply evenly and generously. It should be reapplied every 2 hours or after swimming or after sweating. Understanding the chemistry behind the sunscreen help us appreciate its role, and we can protect our skin from damaging effects of both UVA and UVB rays. By choosing the right type of sunscreen, by carefully looking at the particle size or SPF, sun protection factor, and the broad spectrum correctly, we can significantly reduce the risk of sunburn, the premature aging, and finally skin cancer. Thank you for watching. If this is helpful, please subscribe the channel and share with others for their knowledge.